Hey everybody, it's Mark again, and I was going to do another video discussing music boxes for cuckoo clocks and some common issues, things to look for. I'm not going to show you every music box there is, but I'll show you a few. So kick back, relax, grab something to eat, grab something to drink, grab something to smoke, and let's learn things. Now this is a side-mounted music box. As you will see, it has a plastic wheel, and we'll talk about that later. But I like this music box, and this is the reason why. The bird arm post is what trips the music. And the bird goes all the way forward, and it hits that wire, which is connected to the lever to trip the music box. This is a AMS movement. One day cuckoo clock. It has a couple in the corner that spins around and dances, and I'll show you that in a second. But I'm going to go ahead and trip the music box, trip the clock, and I'm sorry if you're not going to be able to see everything, but I'll try my best. And this clock plays music on both the hour and the half hour because it has two holes, two different music. As you can see, hopefully you can see, the bird post went all the way forward, which trips that music box. My lighting in my house sucks. Now there's a plastic tab on the end of that lever, and that plastic tab hits the governor pin when the music is done, and you want it to hit that governor pin when the music is done. I'm trying to hold this flashlight and hold this camera at the same time, because if it doesn't, the lever that goes into that hole is going to continue going into that hole, and then it's going to be hard to trip. Now, this screw that holds that brass lever in place, it leaves slack in that lever. That way it could slide back and forth. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but it slides back and forth. And when I push on this wire, it will trip the music. Like I said, it's a very good setup. I don't know if you noticed, but as that lever got into that hole, the lever started sliding down or sliding up, either way, and then the plastic lever hits the governor fan to stop the music. That way it's tripped. Now let me turn this clock around so you can see it. It's got a water wheel. It's got fake water on it, which is a piece of paper that moves as the water wheel spins. And like I said, there's a couple that dances, that spins around. Very nice clock, chalet style cuckoo clock, one day cuckoo clock. What I call 3D carvings in the front because they're very nice. They stick away from the clock. On the hour. I have to adjust my hand. And the hour hand is struck 9 o'clock. I believe it was 9. And to adjust the hand, you just loosen this nut, put it where it is, but where it needs to be, and then tighten that nut. I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera. Once it's struck, you don't have to, you can keep rotating the hands. $12 o'clock. I miscounted. I was saying, once it cuckoos on the half hour and it plays music on both the hour and the half hour, you don't have to sit here and wait for the music to finish. You can go ahead and rotate it up to the hour, and after it cuckoos, the music will finish just like it did. Not to get off subject, but you see that hole next to that door? There used to be a wire there. That is the shipping wire, and it's also was used as a nighttime shut-off lever. And I know gonna have a lot of people tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. Go to cuckoo-clocks.com. They have that same information. So what I do, and again, I'm not going to be able to hardly do this, but me holding the camera. To set the time, I close that door, I rotate the hands until it's the right time, and here it's 20 minutes till 8. The first time it cuckoos is going to be off. The next time it cuckoos is going to be correct. And so it doesn't hurt to close that door at night. The reason why they went to the side-mounted levers or the arm on the bottom is because those wires would come out all the time and people were complaining. Older movements and some newer movements have several teeth on the comb. I think this has got like 36 or 48, I don't remember. But this belongs in this clock right here that has a regular 701 movement in it. And the system that trips the music is a spring and this little cam here. When the clock goes into warning, there's a pin where it came out on my clock, and that's one of the things I got to do to it again. But there's a hole in that cam. That black lever, when it's not cuckooing or when it's done playing music, that wire is in about the 10 o'clock position. When it goes into warning, that wire spins over here, that black lever drops and catches that wire. That way it can cuckoo, and when it's done cuckooing, that black lever lifts up, and that way it can rotate this system until it's done playing the music. This is the music box for that clock. And I had this clock working, and then I painted my kitchen wall. And when I painted my kitchen wall, I moved all the clocks off the wall. And when I put it back on the wall, I don't know what happened. I think that pen fell out, and that's why it's not working. Not going to discuss the music box in this clock. I've got several videos on that clock and working on my friend's clock. You could check that out, and I talk all about it. Here's an older music box for an older clock. Count wheel movement where the governor band is above the movement, just like in that regular 701 clock I showed you. However, the count wheel movement clocks are 10 times better than that regular 701 movement, just because what trips the music. But this thing has got a beautiful 2 tunes on it. That was 1, and that was 2. And again, it's got a lot of teeth on the comb. Again, this gear here attaches to the movement to where this, sorry, again, I need a different phone stand. This gear here attaches to the main gear of the movement, so when the clock is activated, it turns the drum for the music. This type of system, which is a side-mounted system, like I showed you in that first clock, like I said, this lever here has to slide up and down. When the music is played, when the music is done, it goes into that hole, and watch this, it's going to slide up, and there would be a plastic tab, if I had a governor pen, that would catch that lever to stop the music when the very last note is played. If you didn't adjust that right, watch what happens. I can pull the drum can rotate more, and now it can't trip. I used a lot of force to trip that clock. Music. So Again, very last note is played. You have to stop the governor fan, and that way you can go like that, and it comes out of the hole. Now, if it comes out of the hole and goes directly back into the hole, you have to adjust this so it catches on the drum. And this part of the barrel, it is made in a special way. It's not circle, it's oblong. If I was to take this thing apart. So what happens is this piece here that falls in the hole, it rides along that oblong section, and the oblong section, because of the way it's made, it makes it go into that hole. I just don't have all this adjusted right. I just wanted to show you. And the drum is not supposed to slide back and forth. If it is sliding back and forth, then this screw, there's a brass collar right here. If it's sliding back and forth like that, it's going to miss some of the teeth. So you need to push it all the way forward, and then push in that brass bitting, and then tighten up the screw. And so now it doesn't slide back and forth. Now, this one, there are screws that hold this wheel onto the post. Now these screws have broken off, so this wire right here is what makes the little man, or in this case the lady, for the Schmeckenbecker Farmer's Daughter clock, to come out of the door. And when it's done playing music, that wire falls into the slot. On this particular clock, because the screws had broken off, I couldn't turn the wheel to adjust it so the little man could go back into the clock. And so what I did, I made this Pac-Man's mouth wider. And it's only because those screws were broken off. Now, I want you to see that in this case, the drum moves back and forth. Okay? But in order to fix this, you have to take this wheel off, so you would have to drill out that screw. Let me grab some parts. This is the chain drive. This is the click, the part of the click system. These are the clicks. There's two of them, and they come up off of the wheel, and when you push this in, you should be able to hear it clicking. What holds that on is this 3-prong compression washer, and then this E-clip that I just dropped. Now, if this wheel was too loose, all you would have to do is take a pair of pliers and bend these arms to put more pressure on that wheel. And I'm going to loosen them so you can see what I'm talking about. You see now it's not catching the click system. So what you have to do is just put your pliers underneath those compression washers and just give it a twist. If you give it too much of a twist, you're going to have a hard time pulling on the chain. So you have to experiment. I don't have enough pressure on it yet, so I'm having to push forward to hear that click. I got one done, and that's all I'm going to do. These are just parts for me. But anyway, to push that drum over, you would have to take off this wheel, or you'd have to take all these parts apart. Where this notch is, drill a hole through this wheel. That way you can push in that brass fitting. That brass fitting needs to be pushed in, and you gotta find something that will push that brass fitting in for you. And then after you get that brass fitting pushed in, you tighten up that screw. But as you can see, the music drum is rocking back and forth, and it's gonna mess up. And sometimes, I don't believe this was original, but sometimes in order to fix this, I believe originally there was a spring here that went to this screw. But sometimes it's easier to modify it a different way. I've already talked about this. Oh, I got another video out there where I'm helping my friend work on a music box, and the issue was where that hole is versus the end of the music. And I'm going to go ahead and mark this so you can see where the end of the music is. The end of the music is in this area right here. And this only plays one song. So the issue was where the end of the music versus the hole was in a different. Let me get to the end of the music. This lever couldn't get up to that hole like it is now. The issue was this drum is locked in place on this shaft, or at least it's supposed to be. His clock, the drum was spinning on the shaft, and it's not supposed to be spinning on the shaft. So what I did was grabbed a hold of the wheel here, and then rotated the drum to where it needed to be so this lever could go in that hole. But again, the way they're designed, they're compressed bit on this shaft. They're not supposed to turn on the shaft. What makes them turn is this wheel right here, which is attached to the wheels here with the chain on it. In order to get these things out, you loosen these screws, you take the music drum off, and then this bushing is supposed to come out just like that, and then you can slide the wheel, or you should be able to slide the wheel out like so. Like I said, they are press fit, welded, I don't know, but they are press fit on the shaft, and they are not supposed to rotate. But on his particular system, the drum was rotating on the shaft, and it ain't supposed to. So anyway, to put this thing back together, there's a pivot right here, and then there's a hole right here on every one of them. It might be made a little bit different, but they have a pivot and they have a hole. And once you push that in, you put this into that hole. If I could get it back in that hole. Things always screw up on camera. I had this thing out before I was talking to y'all. There we go. It's in the hole now. And so now you have to, you see how long this thing is? This is what keeps this drum pushed all the way over. So you have to push this thing, and there's normally a tapered end which goes toward the drum, and I found the tapered end. So you put that in, and then you push it. Make sure the screw is loose enough so you can push it. And they're tightly fit, so you have to find the perfect spot. Which, again, doing this on camera, I'll loosen the screw up some more. And once you push it in, you tighten the screw up. And now it doesn't rock back and forth, because that bushing is what pushes that drum over, and you have to tighten up that screw. Just another wheel like this wheel here that the wire catches to bring the people back inside. This lever here has to be bent just right. This screw here doesn't have threads all the way on it, okay? It only has like 4 or 5 threads on it, and then the rest of it is a shaft. So don't over tighten this screw, because this thing has to be able to wobble back and forth like that. When this wire is pulled, and again it's pulled because this thing is sitting up like this. When it's pulled, when you I need to finish letting the music play. Do you see this brass piece here? Again, it's not perfectly circle. It is oblong. It is designed that way to guide this lever that goes into the hole, And then this piece is supposed to stop the fan. I did that on purpose. It's supposed to stop the fan when the very last note is played. That way this piece doesn't continue to travel in that hole, because you see that? It's putting a bind on that. So what you do is you take a pair of pliers and you bend this brass piece. Okay? But you see how the fan's not moving? In order to get the fan, well, in order to get, the fan is hitting what I just bent, okay? In order to get the fan to move, you spread this lever and this lever out some, which will in turn cause that, sorry, I meant to say in some. You push it in some, which in turn will release this from the fan. But again, that lever has to catch that fan whenever this falls in the hole and the music stops. Don't worry about her yet. See, it's catching the lever, the music has stopped because there's my line showing me that the music stopped. And now I can easily push this thing out. Okay, but when I push this out, it goes back into the hole. And so you have to adjust this lever so it drops more. So so it can play the music. See, it went into the hole. The band is stopping the lever. You can add a piece of straw, a tube from an ink pen. You just cut a little piece off and add it to that brass lever if you need to adjust it some instead of bending it. But because if you bend the brass too much, guess what? It's going to break. This belongs to my farmer's daughter's clock, and sometimes it was playing music and sometimes it wasn't. And come to find out, this wire, and I don't know who bent this wire all crazy like that, it wasn't me. This wire was touching the drum. And so, because it was touching the drum, when the system was tripped, it wasn't playing the music. And that's because the wire that's attached to her head was hitting this drum. And so I had to take the clock all back apart to figure that out. And you will notice that she falls into the case before the music is done. She falls in right there, and the music is done there. You notice she started coming out a little bit. I'm going to do that again so you can see it, because I looked down at my camera and I didn't have my camera in the right position. She's going to come back in the case. The music is going to stop, but see, she starts going back out of the case. And that's because this wheel has to be adjusted again. So you loosen the two screws. You adjust the wheel to where you want it. And then you tighten the two screws. And guess what you do after that? You do another function test to make sure it's working properly. You always want to do a function test after you adjust things. So here it is. She comes out, the music is playing. She's fixing to come back in. The music stopped, but she didn't come back in. That means I adjusted it too much. So I have to adjust it again. And there's not always two screws on this lever. Sometimes there's only one. But you want to make sure that you tighten both screws. I was able to adjust it by loosening one screw, but you want to make sure you tighten both screws. And because I did another adjustment, I have to do another function test. And this is why people that work on clocks for a living, this is a lot of the reason why people that work on clocks for a living refuse to work on musical cuckoo clocks. That time, everything worked perfect. So I'm going to set that to the side. And we're going to discuss these governor systems. Now, Time Savers used to sell like 3 or 4 different governors. They don't anymore. You heard me say this in other videos. The company Rouge sold their company to a watch company. And when they did, their equipment to make music boxes for cuckoo clocks went to China. And that's why the music boxes that you buy from Time Savers and the governor systems say some modification may be required. This is the original Swiss-made governor system because it has oblong holes. The China-made governor systems, they have circle holes that you have to make oblong in order to adjust this thing onto the music box. Just like so. You would have to, if these were perfectly circled holes, you would have to make them oblong so you can adjust it to the music box so they would work. Now, I've got another video that explains this, but this is a wheel. This is a pinion gear. Pinion gears match up, or lantern gears match up to wheels to make them work. This is a wheel. The pinion gear on this governor assembly for this wheel matches up to this wheel on the drum of the music box. And it just so happens, I think I picked a right governor system because it seems to be working fine for this. However, I would have to count the teeth on this, all right? There are different size wheels, different size pinion gears, and it all has to do with the teeth. And the teeth of this has to match up to the teeth of this wheel. And because there's different size, this main wheel here, as you go from here to the left, this lever here that has this plastic wheel on it, those teeth could be different because of the size could be different. I'm trying to find all the parts. Here's a lantern pinion right here that's metal. And so I'm going to stop this video. I'm going to take pictures of this lantern, of this wheel here. And I'm going to take pictures of another wheel. This plastic wheel here is cracked. And I'm going to count the teeth. Because the teeth has got to do with this span here. And so if I were to measure this wheel right here, it's 7.82 millimeters, all right? If I were to measure this wheel here, it's 7.9 millimeters. This, again, is 7.84. I did a video here a while back, and I measured a few of these things, and I came up with like at least 5 different sizes. I don't want to take this thing apart just to measure this. I'm going to see if I got some more. My friend Just Mike, he's got a contact on some plastic wheels, and they worked for the governor system of his. This is one of those plastic wheels. 7.7 up. Here's another plastic wheel. 6.35. My point is, I'm going to count the teeth, okay? But if you're purchasing plastic wheels from somebody, make sure they're the right diameter and the right number of teeth is what you got. Because there's some people that are 3D printing these plastic wheels, and they think that they're going to work on every system, but I don't believe they will. So anyway, I'm going to stop. I'm going to take pictures of this wheel, of this wheel, of this wheel, and I'm going to take... And by the way, in order to work on these things, they're a pain in the butt. They got a plastic design, I've got one somewhere, where the stuff snaps into slots. But in order to work on these, you have to basically take a pair of pliers and bend this out of the way so you can take this gear out. And then when you're done, you got to bend that brass piece back in, and so it's not the ideal system. And this is how I count the teeth. I took pictures. This is one that is 7.82 millimeters. You zoom in. And you bring the picture where you could see the stupid thing. You zoom in as much as you want to count. And starting with this tooth, there's 2 teeth that are touching my caliper. So starting with the bottom tooth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 22 teeth. The one that I measured, well, I'm just going to show it to you. This one, the picture didn't come out that well. But this is 6.31 millimeter, and I'm going to zoom in so we can count the teeth. Now I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so you can count the teeth. Again, there are 2 teeth that are touching my caliper, so I'm going to start with the bottom one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That's what I already wrote down. This one is one that Just Mike sent me. The one that person he knows printed them on a 3D printer. And so I'm going to zoom in. Again, on this side there are 2 teeth that are touching my caliper. Starting with the bottom one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 24 teeth. Do you see what I'm getting at? If it's got too many teeth, it's not going to work. If it's got too less of teeth, it's not going to work. And it all has to do with the number of teeth on the wheel on the pinion gear that I showed you at the beginning. This is Time Saver's latest book. There's only one music movement governor. Replace worn or damaged governor and keep the same tune. Tooth count indicates the number of teeth on the comb. Mounting holes will need to be filled to fit your movement. 7-leaf pinion. That is that pinion that drives the music drum. Okay? This says it fits 22, 28, and 37 teeth. But this is the most important part. Number of teeth on the pinion is 7 teeth. Okay? I'm going to take a picture of, I don't know if I have any more good pictures of, but 6.35. We'll go ahead and count that one. But I was going to say I'm going to take a picture of one of the governors that I have and count the pinion gears, just like I'm doing with this stuff. Again, there are 2 teeth on this wheel that are touching my caliper, and I'm going to start at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I think that is the same one that I measured at 6.31. I think I did this one twice. That was Just Mike's. This one I need to redo because I can't see the picture that well. I don't think you're going to be able to either when I zoom it in. See, I need to redo that picture. So let me get back. This is the plastic wheel that's cracked, and the diameter on it is 7.94. So I need to zoom in so I can find a spot to count from. And I'm going to start where the crack is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. So we've got two that measured 24, one that was 7.82 millimeters in diameter, one that's 7.94 millimeters in diameter. Then we got one that measured 22, 7.82 millimeters in diameter, and then the one that just Mike sent me measured 20, and it's 6.35 millimeters in diameter. This is a pinion, the wheel that matches to. This is the pinion gear. This is the wheel. That's the pinion gear. And that is the most important part when you go to order a new governor assembly. So I need to count the teeth on it. There are two spots right here that are clear. I'm going to go with the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Remember I told you the Time Savers book says number of teeth of pinion is 7? Well, this system would not work on the governor fan assembly that I measured this wheel, pinion gear with, because it's got 15 teeth. So the point I'm trying to get across, again, is if somebody says, I'll sell you some 3D printed plastic wheels, make sure the diameter of what they have and the number of teeth of what they have is what you have, or it will not work. This is a governor assembly that I took that wheel off to measure the pinion. And again, in order to take it off, you got to bend this brass plate out of the way to pull it out, and then you got to bend it back in to put it back in. And even these bushings wear out, and you might have to put another bushing in. But the governor fan, I'm going to take this thing out, and I'm going to show you, or try to show you, how this system works. And I'm going to get out my magnifier to show you. The problem with the magnifier is the light has to be just right, and I don't know whether you can see it or not. This is the top of the section. This part right here, there's no hole. The hole is off to the side. That's where the top of the governor fan goes. Here is the governor fan. You would think with this screw being right here that the hole would be on the other side of that screw, but it's not. The hole is to the side. So when you put this thing on, you have to make sure that you find the one that has the that the hole is on the. You have to make sure that you get this thing in the right hole, is what I'm getting at. And it takes brute force to put this thing back in. I gotta get out my magnifying glasses. Stand by. Okay, I have it in, and it has to have in check, because what happens when it starts spinning, it actually raises up in the air. And if the fan blade is touching the housing, it's not going to work. And so you can slide this fan blade down, but be careful, that way you don't break the pivots that's on the end of these things. So now I'm going to see if I can find, I got too much crap in the way. This one is the metal gear, and I wish they made them all metal. That way you wouldn't have to worry about damaging them. This shaft is not long enough for this governor, I don't believe. You see how far away it is? It's like an eighth of an inch away. All right? So you have to find the right one. And give me a second. I went through 3 different governors before I found the correct one, because the other governors was wider than this one. And so I was going to show you what makes that clicking noise, but the bush, this needs a bushing. As you can see, the pivot is wobbling back and forth. And so maybe if I bend this tab in some more, I might be able to show you what I want to show you. First of all, you can see that the band isn't moving. Believe it or not, this wheel doesn't go in the center of that pinion gear on the governor fan. It has to go off to the inside a little bit, but I think I had it too much. I turned all my noise off so you can hear it. First of all, when I put pressure on the wheel, I want you to notice that the governor fan goes up. You see that? It's moving. I really need to take this lever off so I could show you all what I want to show you. People ask me all the time, Mark, why do you do so many videos? Because I've got people from all over the country asking me questions. And so it's the life I chose, so I have to respond to them. But now it's off. The wheel is too far away from the governor fan now, so I need to push it toward the governor fan. And this wheel is cracked, okay? You notice that the governor fan is going up in the air? It goes up in the air to start off with. And if you got the blade too high up, it's going to hit the top of the housing. Anyway, you have to have the wheel just right to get it to work. And like I said, this wheel is cracked, and so it keeps moving on me. And the system needs bushings, and you can see the shaft going up and down. But anyway, what you can do is take this thing off. You know, I don't know how long it's going to last, but what you can do is squeeze this thing together tightly to close up the crack. And while you're doing that, you use my friend baking soda and super glue. It does wonders. My friend Ron, the Mennonites or the Amish people, they take micro drills and they drill holes on each side of the cracks. And then they take some fine wire and they tighten up that wire, which squeezes the crack together. You have to have the proper wire. You have to practice, because if you squeeze the wire too much, it's going to break on you. So, like I said, being prepared helps also. Squeeze the parts together, and you could even do this with it off the shaft. Squeeze the parts together, put some super glue, and then immediately put some baking soda. That way you get it all over your hands like I did. And I've done that before, and it made it work. I don't know how long it's going to work. It's still on the clock. And so now, I don't know what I did with the shaft. Mark, you got way too much crap going on. Stand by. Let me find the shaft. You put it back on the shaft, and then you put it back into the housing. Now, I will tell you that it's easier to take the governor fan off before you put this thing in. As you can see, I'm trying to put it in, and the fan keeps getting in my way. And once you get it in, you have to bend this part back down over the pivot. Like I said, these things were not designed as well as they should have been. And if you added too much super glue, it's going to be in your way like it is on this one, because I did it on video for you guys. And like I said, things don't always go as planned when you're doing a video. So you have to make sure that you don't put too much super glue on the system. And there's one last thing I'm going to show you. And I'm going to take this stupid thing back off, and I'm going to take this plastic gear back off. This is just Mike's wheel, okay? First of all, you have to broach out the center hole. So I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera, and I'll get back to you. Actually, I'm not going to. Because the diameter is different on this wheel is smaller than this wheel. I'm not going to broach the hole out because I might use it on a different system. Because the diameter is smaller, when you put the thing on, you have to understand it's not going to catch those teeth. So again, there's about 6 or 7 different sizes of these wheels. So I wish Black Forest Imports used to sell these plastic wheels. They were 5 for $20, $4 a piece, or 4 for $20. I don't know. It was a few years ago. They no longer sell them. I wish that somebody would take the time who knows 3D printers and make these wheels. You could sell them for $5, $10 a piece. People would rather buy a plastic wheel for $10 and put it on their governor that there's nothing wrong with than spend $45, $50 and up on another governor. Let me get back to time savers. I forgot how much the thing cost. And this is Time Savers is one of the cheapest systems out there. These are only $20.50. However, only 7 teeth. They are not going to work. Okay? These, they don't tell you what the pinion gear is because it's a brand new music box. But when you rather spend $10 on a plastic wheel versus $94 for another music box, $73 for another music box, the cheapest ones they got is this one right here, which is $52.50. I take that back, which is this one, $50 each. And they're the cheapest ones. Well, there's maybe 2 more, but a lot of people say try Frankenmuth. Frankenmuth is one of the most expensive parts company out there for cuckoo clocks. Last thing I want to show you, I just did a video on this. Lux animated spinning wheel clock made in 1948. It's ticking away. I did a video on this. It was ticking away until I picked it up, and I told you every time I pick it up, I grab a hold of the wrong system. It's still ticking away. You see how much the spring is unwound? I can't find the back plate port. I might have to make one, but anyway, there's a lot of issues with cuckoo music systems, and I hope I covered most of them. Here's one that I have. I thought I was going to be able to use this, but you will see the pinion gear doesn't match up with the wheel on this gear here. And again, this gear is what goes to the music drum. So anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please leave me some comments. Subscribe to my channel. Hit the like button. Hit the notification button. That way you get notified on YouTube when I post a new video. And this is why I don't get a lot of my clocks are not running, because I don't have time to work on my own clocks. I have to force myself to stay away from this stuff. But I get people that ask me questions all the time, and I'm that kind of person. I'm going to try to answer them. Anyway, may God bless each and every one of you.